In this lesson, we will code the solution of challenge 1 and challenge 2. Firstly, we said that there should be property lines having all sides or line segments of the polygon. So let's first create that. We know that number of sides of a polygon are same as number of its vertices, which is the length of the polygon. So we will create line segments using vertex at index I and I plus 1. But note that with I as the index of the last vertex, this vertex at I plus 1 will generate error since there is no vertex after the last one. So we should make it length of self minus 1. So this will create all line segments except the last line segment, which is formed by the last vertex and the first vertex of the polygon. We can append that manually. I think I misplaced one brace. And now it is fine. Having all line segments, the perimeter calculations are very simple. We have absolute method defined for a line segment as its length, and we simply need to add the lengths of all line segments. Then for the area calculations, we said that we will split a polygon into different triangles and sum up areas of those triangles. For that, I have created this triangle class, and it's quite simple to understand. In init method, we are providing 3 vertices of the triangle, and then is the property for area. Using triangle geometry, the simplest way to find area from 3 vertices is by using this formula. So it is calculated in this function and returned. Now in area property of the polygon, firstly we know that the number of triangles in a polygon is 2 less than number of its vertices. We will create triangle object. The first vertex of the triangle is always the first vertex of the polygon, which is at index 0. The other two are changed in each triangle and are provided as I plus 1 and I plus 2. We will sum all areas and return that. Let's give it a test on 2 triangles, both in clockwise and counterclockwise order. Both perimeter and area of the first triangle are correct. Let's try the same triangle in other order. And we have the correct result again. Now let's verify for the second triangle. And the results are correct for this one too. So challenge 1 is complete, but as we said, this way of finding the area of polygon is valid for convex polygons and not for the concave. And for that we have challenge 2, where we will find the area of both convex and concave polygon. Plus we have to find the type of the polygon as convex, concave or complex. Here is the program skeleton provided for the challenge 2 code. The property lines is same as developed in the challenge 1, so I'll copy that from there. And likewise, the perimeter calculations are same as of the challenge 1. Now before we code the area calculations, let's first complete this shape or type of the polygon property. As discussed previously, we should first check the intersections of the line segments to decide if it is a complex polygon. To check the intersection, I found this post on Stack Overflow. There is detailed discussion on it, and then we have a very simple and elegant solution for this. This solution starts with the function ccw for counterclockwise, which takes 3 xy points a, b and c as input arguments. This function checks if the two line segments AB and BC formed by the input points are connected in counterclockwise direction or not. Then it has the other function intersect, which takes 4 xy points as input argument, and those represent two line segments AB and CD. And then based on these conditions of few line segments in clockwise or counterclockwise placement, it is decided if the input line segments are intersecting or not. The link for the detail of this algorithm is also provided, and you can find the detail of the logic given in a quite simple way. So I'll copy this code and paste it inside line segment class. For the first function, these a, b and c are points, and this code uses .x and .y for the x and y components. And we too use the same names, so therefore we don't need to change anything for this function. We will make it a static method since it doesn't need any line segment object. For this intersect method, instead of 4 points, I will change those to 2 line segments. Now I should change the points A, B, C and D to P1 or P2 of self and other. A, B are P1 and P2 of first line segment, whereas C, D are P1 and P2 of second line segment. We cannot use line segment directly as it is the inner class of the polygon class, so we will have to access it as polygon.lineSegment. Now we have to use this intersect method inside the logic of shape property to find the complex polygon. As discussed in challenge lesson, we will start checking the intersections from third line segment, which is at index number 2. And we will check its intersection with all previous line segments till the first one. Please see carefully that I minus j will have values starting from I till 0 when j will be equal to I. If there is any intersection, we can declare polygon as complex, and otherwise it will be convex or concave, but at the moment we will declare it as non-complex. Recall that for the last line segment of the polygon, we shouldn't check its intersection with the first line segment, because the last and the first line segments are always connected. So we must put a condition to skip that check. Let's check the output for two polygons where the first one is complex and the second one is convex. You can see the correct output. So we have implemented this part, and now for the non-complex polygons we have to differentiate between convex and concave. For that, first we need to find the cross products of all pairs of adjacent vectors and then check the sign of all those cross products. For that, I found this Stack Overflow post on type of polygons. There is quite lengthy discussion on different ways to find the type of polygon. And I found this solution which matches with our proposed solution but has a couple of little mistakes. Firstly, it finds the z component of the cross product of two vectors formed by 3 points A, B and C. I will explain the formula when we will code it shortly. Then it has the method isConvex, where it first creates all combinations of 3 points which form the two vectors and then applies cross product function and find the signs if z component of the cross product is greater than 0 or not. The first problem in this solution is that he checked for greater than comparison only, and in case two line segments are parallel, the z component will be 0, so it should be greater than equal to comparison to handle those cases. Second problem is that in this part of creating the combinations of 3 points, he hasn't included the last line segment and the first line segment case, and that can lead to wrong results. So let's code this in our program. Firstly, we will add the static method z cross product with point A, B and C. See this figure where 3 points are shown with their x and y components. Vectors v1 and v2 are calculated by subtracting the tail point from the head point. Z component of both v1 and v2 are 0. Now if we apply the formula of cross product between v1 and v2, it will only have the k unit vector part, which is the z component, and the value is shown by calculating the determinant of the matrix. So that's what we should return in this function. And now in shape property, we first need to create the vertex combinations. Please see carefully that the three values inside this zip function are lists. The first is the list of all vertices of the polygon. The second is the list of vertices starting from index 1, which is the second vertex. And third is the list of vertices starting from index 2, which is the third vertex. So if we pick the first element of each of these three lists, those will be first, second and third vertex respectively. And then so on for the next elements, giving us the right vertex combination. However, the above combinations do not include the last combination, which is made by the last 2 points and the first point. So we will append that by ourselves. And now we will pick the vertex combinations and we'll check if the cross product is positive or 0. Then we should also check if the cross products are negative or 0, as we discussed in detail in last lesson. The two lists sin1 and sin2 have Boolean results of the cross products satisfying the conditions mentioned there. We can check if all entries of sign1 list are true or none of the entry is true. And that means polygon is convex. Similarly, we should have checked for the sign2 list and the polygon will be convex. If a polygon is not complex and not convex, it will be a concave one. So let's test this on 3 polygons, where first is complex, second is convex, and the third is concave. And the result is correct for all 3. You should check it for the other polygons given in the PDF document in both clockwise and counterclockwise direction. And now let's move to the last part of the challenge, which was to find the area of convex or concave polygon using the shoelace algorithm. If you search for the shoelace algorithm, you will easily find help on that. Let's see this page. In shoelace algorithm, we need to have x and y components of each vertex of the polygon, and then by cross multiplying those in a specific pattern gives the area of the polygon. We need to find two summations. Suppose these are 5 vertices of a polygon with x and y components as shown here. For first summation, we need to add the cross products as shown by the arrows. And for the second summation, we need to sum these cross products. And finally, the half of difference of these summations is the area of the polygon, whether it is convex or concave. Graphically, the pattern of these cross products forms the shape of a shoelace and hence the name of the algorithm. So let's code it now. First, we should have list of x and y components of all vertices of the polygon. For the cross multiplication, it will be better to arrange the list y in this way such that each value is shifted 1 unit to the left side and the first value is moved to the last index. In this way, the multiplication will be simple index to index. So I am creating a zip object with first value as list of x components and the second value will be the y components, but starting from second value, which is at index number 1. Then should be the first value of the y list placed at the end of the list. For that we can use y of 0, but we should convert it to a list for concatenation. Or else we can use list slicing as from start till index 1, and that index 1 is not included in slicing. So essentially it will be just the first value at index 0 and in the form of a list. Now we can apply multiplication and the sum. Similarly, we should have the second summation. And finally the return statement. Now let's test the perimeter and area for one convex and one concave polygons. It is correct for both polygons. You should check for other polygons in both clockwise and counterclockwise directions and you will get the correct results. In case of something different, please let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.